This is a short video. You may recall in the long video I was looking through the effects and thought, are these new or are they just on my system and no one else's? Specifically these ones here, video effects, film and impact, motion tools, and wasn't quite sure what they were, and they rather quietly have been added to Premiere Pro, but as you find them here, it's not particularly easy to kind of work out what's going on. But I discovered while rooting around the internet that these actually have a dashboard and a different interface you can use to preview them and even run through a number of different iterations of them. So I'm just going to show you this very quickly. Okay, so all these effects down here, there's basically effects and transitions that are new to Premiere Pro included. I've created a sample timeline here, so one clip with a piece of footage I downloaded and just some text over the top, and another two pieces with a transition. So this is to show you the effects, and then this one will be to show you transitions. I'm not going to preview all of them, just highlight a few of them and show you how you can access them through the dashboard. So if you go up to Window and Extensions, you'll see there is Film Impact Dashboard. Okay, so if I click that, and then suddenly this rather bright interface comes up. Now, what I would suggest you do, and if you want to use this more frequently, if you think it may be useful, what you can do, if you grab this, the top title bar here, I would suggest grabbing it and releasing it when it's in this area here, which is normally where your project bin is. Okay, now that then adds it to the list of tabs. See, it's now listed as one of those there like that. If you think this is a great thing and you want to keep it permanently there, you can go up to Window, Workspaces, and choose Save as New Workspace. So I've started with the default editing one, so I'm going to call this Tim 2025. Okay, so now when I go to Workspaces, I should find there is this one here, so I know that will include the changes I've made to the workspace. I've still got the editing one if I want to go back to the default vanilla one I chose earlier. Okay, so this works slightly different. You don't drag and drop them on the clip. What you do is you highlight the clip. So let's go back here so we can see it. I'll make the text not visible for the time being. And you hover over a clip and it gives you a kind of preview of the sort of thing it does. This is Blur FX. So I've highlighted that. If I go Apply, okay, and by default it comes up with a version of that. If you go to Effects Controls, you'll see that all the parameters for this are available to you. And what's really handy, sometimes you're just kind of eyeballing stuff and thinking something a bit like this. You've got this surprise button, so it just randomly generates variations of the Blur FX, and you could spend actually hours going through these to find one and think, oh, that's a good basis for what I want to do. It says now trying to find one. Some of them become very abstract, so let's try with that, and then just reduce the amount a bit more like that. And you can add what's called chromatic aberration. You'll see what the effect of that is. It kind of takes the colors apart a bit more, and we're getting something very abstract. If I get lost down a rabbit hole, I can do start fresh, and there is a clean image, and go through the surprise me again. Of course, I can start fresh and just alter these parameters as I would do in a normal effect. But I think it's really useful to kind of just preview different effects. If you don't like anything, you can temporarily turn it off by clicking here. Well, let me just show you. So there, if I click this, it turns it off. But if I've decided that's not for me, then I can just remove it from the thing entirely. So these are effects, essential effects, and you've got lights and blurs, and you can put favorite, the ones you particularly like. So this is another one I thought was quite nice. And again, we got the surprise me thing here. So you see this takes the three color channels and then splits them up, which is and you can of course keyframe these, so it might be kind of quite nice to see like the horizontal split here, for example. I could bring that back and then bring this back and then move them up, or maybe pulse that for a particular kind of effect. Obviously that's kind of quite an extreme effect, but it's largely to show you the edge behavior mirrored. Yeah, right, transparent. Let's see what that does. Okay, start fresh with that one. I'll just show you a couple more. So the motion ones, these I think are more useful for titles, and I quite liked, which one was it? I highlighted one. Oh, 3D rotate. Yeah, so this is ridiculously powerful. So I've applied this wrong clip. Need to apply it to the title. Apply there. Okay, now if I choose Surprise Me, what you'll see is you've got this graph that shows you how this is responding. So it's I'll do this, and then the bounce will be when it kind of stops and then just does a little jitter afterwards. So it's getting faster and faster as it's effectively falling towards its normal state and then bounces back again. But you got overshoot, and then Surprise Me will give you different kind of curves. So let's see what this, we've got onto this next one here. And you can change all these parameters, so it's maybe kind of excessive. And you could endlessly experiment with that, tweak it, use the randomizer, but I'll take that off there. Okay, so there's different categories here. The tools one, I haven't found a direct use for those as yet, but the motion, lights and blurs and essential might be worth a look. So the transitions, which is the other element of this, so between clips, same principle applies. In this case, you just highlight the gap between two clips, so I've highlighted that there. And essentials, what's that one? Chaos. Okay, let's try that. Apply. That's what it says on the tin. Okay, we get a kind of judder and then it returns to that there. Now, what you can do with this, which is, if I just zoom in a bit to show you what's going on here, typically you just click this and it just be able to change the duration. But now, these transitions get a whole range of parameters in the effects control window. So you can, doesn't need to, the transition doesn't be centered at the cut. It surprised me to do different variations of that. I'm not going to iterate all the way through those, but just to show you the kind of interface for this. If I don't like it, highlight that, unclick that, and we'll just look at one more to highlight both of those. Lights and blurs. There was animation. No, I don't think that's going to work. Distortions, grunge. What the hell will that do? Okay, obviously I can, as previously, I can make these longer. So let's see what the grunge does. So play through this. Okay, it kind of adds a kind of glitch. Okay, so that was the starting point. But as previously, I can surprise me, and that will come up with a different variation. Okay, so I just thought I'd bring that to your attention. It's kind of fun thing to play around with, particularly if you use them in combination and actually dig down into the parameters. But there are multiple opportunities to randomize things and get exactly the look that you want. Okay, that's me done.